Hello everyone! Today I'm colouring in my first sketchbook page. If you'd like to see me start the sketches, I've linked the first video up above and in the description. I'm probably not going to make a script for this video. I mean, I don't have one with me right now. I kind of wanted this video to be more of just like maybe kind of like a live stream, but I don't know, draw with me like we're on FaceTime, basically. I'll just be talking about random stuff, and yeah, that will be kind of it. So if you want to watch more structured videos, I have those on my channel, but if you don't mind just random rambling while you watch me colour in, then that's then this is the video for you. Recently I have been really inspired by The Arcane. I've been inspired by it ever since it came out, but I never really felt like I could achieve anything like The Arcane because I didn't have anything that could run Blender. And The Arcane obviously is mostly 3D. I've seen a lot of videos talking about how the backgrounds are 2D, and most of the visuals you're seeing in Arcane is actually 2D painted because it's a lot cheaper than making 3D models for everything. So that's very inspiring to know. But nevertheless, I will still have to make models, 3D models, if I want to make anything similar to The Arcane. But simultaneously, I don't want to just copy The Arcane. What I've been noticing with art and movies recently is obviously there has been this huge uprise in 3D animation, and from what I've heard, it's because of a movie that was released. I haven't actually watched it. Let me try and find what it was. I think it was like Sinbad. You'll probably hear the typing of my PC as I'm trying to... Oh yeah, Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas. So who released this? I want to say it was DreamWorks, because Shrek is also coming up, and The Road to El Dorado. Yes, yeah, DreamWorks. So DreamWorks released Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas, and apparently it didn't do great. I had no idea that Brad Pitt, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Catherine Zeta-Jones was in this movie. What? Maybe I need to watch it. But apparently the animation is really, really good, and it was released in 2003, and it didn't do great. Apparently, I mean, I haven't watched it, and I've watched most Disney and DreamWorks movies, so I like to think I have anyway, and so yeah, clearly it didn't do well. And then Disney then released Princess and the Frog, and apparently that also didn't do very well. I remember seeing it in magazines and stuff because I was also still pretty young when it came out. Me and my friends didn't go to the cinema to watch it. It was all very weird. Me and my friends had kind of aged out of wanting to go to the cinema to see Disney movies, but we did go see Frozen. So yeah, I don't know, there was something about the 2D animation of that specific movie as well. I think because it was kind of clean, whereas all the movies that I was used to were they were still quite old and sketchy. I don't know what happened with the marketing with Princess and the Frog as well. It just completely went under the radar with all of me and my friends, and none of our parents wanted to go. But we did end up watching it as soon as it then came to DVDs. We then instantly bought it and instantly watched it, and I think most of us really liked it. I particularly liked it, but it just wasn't something that my family put on. But I now watch it quite regularly myself because I like it quite a lot, and I really like the music in it. The song at the beginning, Almost There, really, really, it makes me excited. I mean, I get really excited and like pumped up when I hear that song. I'm like, yeah, that's how I feel with art and stuff. I'm almost there and I'm getting there. And yeah, I really love it. I love the movie. But yeah, so what I've heard is that Sinbad and Princess and the Frog really just put 2D animation down the drain. Like, it wasn't making as much money as they wanted it to, and so they started to incorporate 3D animation into their movies. If you watch Prince of Egypt, you will find that there is a lot of 3D animation in it. And I only realized this a few years ago watching it. I was like, wow, this is really jarring. It's just random 3D models. And I was like, why did you do that? But it does look good. And I imagine it saved a lot of time with the 2D animation. And I'm really glad they still kept in the 2D animation. because Prince of Egypt is one of my favourite movies ever, and I'm really excited for the musical to come out. I think I've already pre-ordered it. The problem with pre-ordering is that I forget that I've done it, and then I'll probably buy it again. So that'll be an issue, but they incorporated 3D animation with Prince of Egypt, and it looked fine. When I realised, I was like, oh yeah, this looks a bit jarring, but after I'd forgotten about it, or just appreciated it, then it looked great. But yeah, they then they bit the bullet, and they made Frozen. And Frozen was clearly a huge success, and it doesn't seem like they really looked back. Apart from with Wish, their new movie, and I'm not even gonna start on that. That looks horrendous. I didn't go to the cinema to see it. It might even still be playing. So that must mean that it's doing pretty well. But some people are saying that's made by AI. It's really strange. It looks like they've tried to go back to 2D, but it's a like commemorative of, or a tribute to all of their movies prior, so they did make it 2D. Well, they made it 3D 2D. I don't really know which way around they did it. But yeah, I'm gonna watch that at some point, probably when it comes to Disney Plus. But it doesn't look great. But hopefully I'm wrong. Something that I found really interesting was also Klaus. Klaus was a 2D movie made to look 3D. And that is just mind-blowing to me, because I'm like, why would you want 2D to look 3D? Because obviously all I want is 2D animation. And what Arcane did was made 3D animation look 2D. Obviously they kept the 3D elements to it, but the whole thing looks like an amazing painting. We can tell that they're 3D because it's just obvious, but I don't know. They don't seem to feel like they're hiding it, but it's also not blatantly in your face like this is a 3D model. And I think that's to do with the texture and the shading, and obviously the lighting as well. There's so much 2D animation in the rest of the show that it probably just seamlessly blends in, and that is so fascinating to me that they've managed to do that. When I first saw it, it was in Love, Death and Robots, I think it is. One of my old friends from school messaged me, and she said, hey, this episode looks so much like your art. And I can't actually remember what episode it is. I'm going to Google that as well. It was quite freaky. It was like this guy going into this long grass, like that Stephen King. I put Death Note. Like the Stephen King thing, or book. Love, Death and Robots. I think maybe it's season 3? Season 2. I haven't actually seen it. I saw that one episode because I was like, oh my god, yeah, you're right. This one does look at least how I wanted my art to look. So I'm going to look for episodes, and then I can hopefully say which episode I'm talking about, because I think a lot of them are different. Maybe I should just go on Netflix. Here we go. Love, Death and Robots. Sorry. Oh my gosh. Okay, the new episodes look amazing. So let's go on volume 1 to begin with, just because I think that lines up with the timeline. Nope. Volume 2. Here we go. The Tall Grass. Honestly, it was called The Tall Grass. Great. So this was clearly animation, a 3D animation, but it looked 2D. This was the first time I personally had ever seen this happen. 2022, the new season came out. When did season 2 come out? Because it could have been Into the Spider-Verse, but I can't remember the timelines. But I mean, it doesn't really matter. Enter the Spider-Verse, that was obviously 3D made to look 2D. And then there's Love, Death and Robots, Tall Grass, also 3D made to look 2D. And then Arcane came out and just blew our minds. And there's this weird trend. I mean, we can see it works. We can see it's cool. We can see that we like it. 3D made to look 2D, it's great. But this is... It can also be overdone and not done in a stylistic, nice way. Puss in Boots. Okay, I would die for Puss in Boots. I love Puss in Boots. I mentioned this in the last video. I have many, many, many pictures of him. I have many little statues of him. I've felted him, and there's drawings that I made of him when I was 9 years old. of like me and him holding hands. I love Puss in Boots, and so I was very excited for the second movie to come out. And this is such a niche thing. Like, my little brain was like, yeah, Puss in Boots, he's the best. And then Zorro, obviously, because Puss in Boots is based off Zorro. He's just furry Zorro, isn't he? And that is that in itself is awesome. And then suddenly Puss in Boots being like, yeah, okay, we got a second one coming out. It was like, what? Out of all things, and I'm not mad about it, out of all things that is gonna be like the biggest movie of 2022, it's Puss in Boots. It was so niche. Like, no one spoke about him, and whenever I mentioned him, people would be like, what, the cat from Shrek? And I'm like, yeah. Or they'd even go as far as about, like, what, the fairy tale character, like, you know, the storybook. And I'd be like, no, the Antonio Banderas one. And so, yeah, mind blown. It felt like I was living in a simulation and it surrounded me. I felt like the main character. But then also like pushed to the side, because then everyone else was like, oh, he's my favourite character too. And that was very humbling. But they obviously did it again with Puss in Boots too, and that did look incredible. It was really, really, really good. I loved it. Personally, because I'm such a big fan of Shrek 2, and I mean all of the Shrek movies involving Puss in Boots, and all of the Shrek movies, but specifically the ones with Puss in Boots in them. I loved those so much that the second one didn't quite cut it for me, because I liked the humour and I liked the grittiness of, well, I guess the texture of the old DreamWorks movies. It felt too clean, which I imagine everyone's going to disagree with, and that's completely fine. It's just that I'm so used to it that I then felt uncomfortable with the second one. I was like, well, this feels like it's the Cocomelon version of Puss in Boots, and also fine, because I'm not really the target audience anymore, and that's okay. I'm 20 years old. I shouldn't really be expecting kid movies to be directed at me. But yeah, I loved Puss in Boots. But then they did it with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I believe that's a different director. I think that is completely separate to Puss in Boots and Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse. It's different people. It's different people completely. And I feel like they missed the mark. I can see that there is a lot of marketing and people really like it, and my sister went to watch it and she came back and she was like, yeah, it's good, it's really great, it was alright. I didn't go see it. That's kind of how I rank the popularity of something, because my cinema doesn't have anything advertised out the front of the cinema. It used to have like boards saying like, this is what's going to be in the cinema now, and just tiny little advertisements, but they decided they wanted to clean and paint the wall behind that, and they never put the advertisement back. And so if I've gone to the cinema to see something, it's because it's been marketed on my phone and with the people around me. And so it's got to be a huge movie for me to ever realize that it's out and it's in the cinema. There was a movie I was really excited for, and it advertised Prince of Egypt the musical, and that is the only reason that I knew it was showing. So I have to be in the cinema to know what they're doing. And I think that was so stupid of them, but whatever. I could like make a petition to be like, oi, put it back, because I have no idea what's going on. Yeah, the amount of movies I've missed in the cinema because of those billboards. But yeah, if a movie is very popular, it's more likely that I will watch it, because obviously I'll know about it. And I did know about Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I didn't know what time it'd be in. I didn't know if it was already done or if it was going to be ages away until it was been released. It just wasn't on my radar. Clearly it was my sister though. She had a great time. But yeah, it just wasn't for me. So that's going to be a very biased way of knowing if something was popular and good or not, obviously, because it doesn't like revolve around me, but that's my own personal thing. And yeah, from what I saw of it, it didn't look amazing, but maybe it was good. But circling all the way back round to Arcane and me, I realised that if I wanted to emulate the Arcane, I do not want to copy it, and I don't want it to be a continuation of the style. I want to continue to make 2D animation. When I picture my animations and I picture my characters in animations, I'm picturing Arcane, but fully 2D. I don't want the cleanness. I don't want any clean lines. I still want you to be like, wow, okay, that line is wobbly. I want it to be sketchy still. But, you know, not sketchy, not too sketchy that it's then difficult to understand what's going on. I want it to still have that 2D feel. Come to think of it, actually, a lot of animes are doing this as well, aren't they? They're doing 3D animation, making to look 2D. I remember Beastars did it, and I love Beastars. That's like my favorite anime ever. If you class it as an anime, I think it is. But yeah, I loved it. I loved it. And that still looks 2D, but anyone that just looks at any screenshot of Beastars will know that it's 3D. So it's still showing that 3D element that they have. But I finally got Blender. I got a laptop that can handle and run Blender, and that is a game changer. I was too scared to open the app for a long time. I've had the laptop for a year now, and I only recently opened Blender and made a model because I was like, no, this is too hard. I can't do this. I can't put up with this. No. I made a model, I printed her, and in my opinion, it's awesome. It's great. So I could do it again. Now, the problem is that I need to design characters for the animation. My plan is design my characters, design my OCs, and even though I hate making character sheets, like I've mentioned in another video that I will also tag, I hate making character sheets. I'm going to have to make a character sheet. Even though I said that you don't have to, don't make him. If you are making a 3D adaptation of your OC, you will probably have to make a character sheet. And I know that sucks, but I have to make a character turnaround and everything. So 1, I have to design the character. 2, I have to be happy with the character design. 3, I probably have to roll with it for a few months to see if I change it, because ain't no way am I gonna 3D this character and then be like, oh, actually I want them to have different hair, and oh my god, I will just scream. So I have to be happy with the character design as well. Then I have to make the turnaround. Then I have to 3D model. But then who's going to be able to tell me the exact time where I'm going to be happy with what I have? So say I make the character. Do I leave it years? Do I leave it 3 days? Because it can be years, and then I'm suddenly like, oh, actually this character is a female. So... like when they were a male, they changed drastically, so I need to just, I'm never gonna know the time frame, so I need to just buckle down and be like, okay, this one fits the standards of what you need the character to be, it's gonna be easy to animate, la da da da, make the turnaround. 3D the character, make it in Blender, and then, now this is gonna sound crazy, I haven't tried it yet, so I have no idea if I'm making it so much more difficult for myself or not. I'm going to animate the character in Blender as a 3D model, and then is this no, it can't be cheating because I've made it and animated it, and then trace over it in a 2D software. Okay, it's not cheating because I made the model and I made the animation. I'm simply going over it with 2D. I'm not going to skip any steps by making my animation look look 2D. I'm not going to skip any of those steps. I'm literally going to make a 3D animation and obviously not give it any lighting or anything. Maybe some basic lighting so that it will make it easier later on when it is 2D, but just make it 3D, add some lighting, basic lighting, no textures, and then transport it and turn it into a 2D animation, because I've not practiced animation really at all. I'm not amazing at it. I mean, I've practiced every now and again, but I've never really been truly happy with what I've made. So either I can spend a year continuously pumping out animations and learning, or so many years, or I can take this shortcut, which will probably inevitably make me learn animation anyway. So entertain me here. This is terrible. But yeah, that's my plan. Sorry, now I've said it out loud, I realize how stupid this sounds. But it means that my characters are always going to be consistent and they're always going to look the same. I'm going to be able to not feel as overwhelmed by the camera angles, by the scene. I'm going to still 2D the scene. I don't think I'm going to make... SketchUp exists. I'm not going to pay for SketchUp though, but I could just make the scenes in 3D, but like basic blocks and stuff, and then trace over those as well, because that is perspective already done for me. But yeah, it's probably cheating, and it's probably like, I don't know. There are people who are like, well, if you have the, means to do it and it saves time, then do it. But I don't know. I need to be proud of what I've made. So I think this 3D idea is a good idea, because I also haven't seen it really done before. And obviously anyone can use this idea, and I imagine everyone, well, not everyone, but like I imagine a lot of people use this idea just because it's probably a lot easier. But I will probably find mistakes in it, and I will find things that don't work. I could probably find out that it's just so much harder than if I just learned animation. And it's whatever. It will be a journey in itself, and I'm really excited to do it. So yeah, this is my colouring in of Ryan McGee, and he is the base, like the ultimate baseline of my new character, and he is currently called Eddie. Also Teddy, but Teddy's the nickname, you can't call him that yet. Yeah, that's about it really. I'm excited to finally finish the character. Well, I'm excited to start the character really. All I've drawn is Ryan McGee, but I'm excited to also make some stickers. I'll be talking that in the next video. I should not start that now because the video is already going to be pretty long. But I'm only making some stickers because I finished bending the machine and I loved it. It was a very good game, and it was very fun, very hard for me because I'm not really a gamer. I mean, I love playing games, but I play the same games over and over again, so I'm not very good at problem solving, as you can tell with the video you just watched. So, but yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.